Class 6, Chapter number 5. The Railway Children. Chapter reading. What fun, said Mother in the dark, feeling for the matches on the table. How frightened the poor mice were. I don't believe they were rats at all. She struck a match and relighted the candle, and everyone looked at each other in its winky, blinky light. Well, she said, you have often wanted something to happen, and now it has. This is quite an adventure, isn't it? I told Mrs. Winnie to get us some bread and butter and meat and things, and to have supper ready. I suppose she has laid it in the dining room. So let's go and see. The dining room opened out of the kitchen. It looked much darker than the kitchen when they went in with one candle, because the kitchen was whitewashed, but the dining room was dark wood from floor to ceiling, and across the ceiling there were heavy black beams. There was a muddled maze of dusty furniture, the breakfast room furniture from the old home where they had lived all their lives. It seemed a very long time ago, and a very long way off. There was a table, certainly, and there were chairs, but there was no supper. Let's look in the other rooms, said Mother, and they looked, and in each room was the same kind of blundering half-arrangement of furniture and fire irons and crockery and all sorts of odd things on the floor, but there was nothing to eat. Even in the pantry there were only a rusty cake tin and a broken plate with whitening mixed in it. What a horrid old woman, said Mother. She has just walked off with the money and has not got us anything to eat at all. Then shan't we have any supper at all? Asked Phyllis, dismayed, stepping back onto a soap dish that cracked responsively. Oh yes, said Mother, only it will mean unpacking one of those big cases that we put in the cellar. Phil, do mind where you are walking to. There's a dear. Hold the light. The cellar door opened out of the kitchen. There were 5 wooden steps leading down. It wasn't a proper cellar at all, the children thought, because its ceiling went up as high as the kitchen's. A beef rack hung under its ceiling. There was wood in it, and coal, also the big cases. Peter held the candle, all on one side, while Mother tried to open the great packing case. It was very securely nailed down. Where is the hammer? Asked Peter. That's just it, said Mother. I'm afraid it's inside the box. But there is a coal shovel, and there is a kitchen poker, and with these she tried to get the case open. Let me do it, said Peter, thinking he could do it better himself. Everyone thinks this when he sees another person stirring a fire or opening a box or untying a knot in a bit of string. You will hurt your hands, Mummy, said Roberta. Let me. I wish Father was here, said Phyllis. he would get it open in 2 shakes. "What are you kicking me for, Bobby?" "I wasn't," said Roberta. Just then the first of the long nails in the packing case began to come out with a scrunch. Then a lath was raised, and then another, till all 4 stood up with the long nails in them shining fiercely like iron teeth in the candlelight. "Hooray!" said Mother. "Here are some candles. The very first thing. You girls go and light them. You will find some saucers and things. Just drop a little candle grease in the saucer and stick the candle upright in it." "How many shall we light?" "As many as ever you like," said Mother gaily. "The great thing is to be cheerful." "Nobody can be cheerful in the dark except owls and dormice." The firelight and the candlelight made the dining room look very different, for now you could see that the dark walls were of wood, carved here and there into little wreaths and loops. Everyone was very, very tired, but everyone cheered up at the sight of the funny and delightful supper. There were biscuits, the merry and the plain kind, sardines, preserved ginger, cooking raisins, and candied peel and marmalade. "Good night, chickies," said Mother. "I'm sure there aren't any rats, but I'll leave my door open, and then if a mouse comes, you need only scream, and I'll come and tell it exactly what I think of it." Then she went to her own room. Roberta walked to hear the little travelling clock chime 2. It sounded like a church clock ever so far away, she always thought. And she heard, too, Mother is still moving about in her room.